some reason it sounds louder. It sounds pretty loud.
Shit.
Yeah, because I'm like talking from some.
Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2. Yeah, dude, this is louder than
Okay.
it was. Or was it louder than it was?
No, it's not. You're just going crazy.
No, it sounds fucking loud right now. It sounded loud, but okay,
All
cool.
right, guys. Hey, guys. My name is Albie. This is another podcast. A second one with just me and Carlos. Because we're lonely and we don't have any friends. No, I'm just saying. No. We have problems. We already talked about it in the last one. This is another podcast talking about video games now. Because the last one we talked about movies and it went a little long. And, you know. Basically, this is the second podcast in one day. So I'm already drunk.
I'm totally okay. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's because I haven't eaten anything.
So now I have to put up with his ass being drunk.
Yes. Intro. This is another podcast. I already said that so many times. Okay, sorry. Yes. So, whew. We've been playing a lot of games. Right? That's what we're supposed to say. Where's the script? God damn it. That's fine.
You might as well start over.
No, it's okay. So, yes. Second podcast of the day. This time we're talking about games. I keep saying that. I don't know why. We've been playing games. Do you want to talk about the games you've been playing?
Oh, fuck. All right, y'all. So, yeah, how Albie said, so the previous podcast was more about, movies and the movies we've watched, movies we're excited about, trailers. This podcast is pretty much everything we've been playing, some things we're excited to play, things that are coming out. So, yes. First thing on the list is, just current games we're playing. So recently, I've gotten back into Pokemon. So, like, Pokemon Go is a huge thing at Alamo Drafthouse. Right now, a lot of us play it, and it brought back some. Shut the fuck up! It brought back some memories of when I used to play, the RPG games
RGP
on the DS. So my sister-in-law was actually super cool enough to give me her DS, her 3DS completely free. So I picked up Omega Ruby again, and I've been playing that. Probably have like 4 or 5 hours invested so far, but it brings back a lot of some memories because it takes place in the Hoenn region. So those are a lot of Pokemons that for the longest time I haven't seen in the game. And it's cool to relive that, because for those of you who don't know, Omega Ruby's a remake of Ruby and Sapphire that came out way back in like 2000 something, which I kind of want to fact check myself there.
I did not know that. I know nothing about Pokemon.
Yeah, so Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are remakes of the original Ruby and Sapphire games.
Oh my gosh.
Which came out a long time ago, man.
What
I think it was for like the Game Boy Advance or some shit, dude. There's still those little cartridges.
No, it's fine.
Anyways, that's one of the big games I'm playing right now. I recently ended up getting Xbox Game Pass, and I really got into a game called Outer Wilds. Now, this is the way Albie described it to me the first time, and it's kind of the way I took it. It's kind of like a outer world exploration like simulator. So there's a huge mystery going on when you start the game, and
The walking simulator.
yeah, well,
That's what I said.
kinda. Well, whatever. Basically, you get to travel between like 7 planets, and there's a mystery you got to solve. Won't get into it, just because I don't know all, aspects of the game just yet, because I'm still currently playing it. But it's really fun. I mean, the storyline that it has, it's definitely interesting, and it makes me want to come back. But one of the coolest parts of that game is that you have 20 minutes to go and explore everything. Right after 20 minutes, a supernova happens, killing you, but you're stuck in a time loop. So you die and you start right where where the game picks up. So the game picks up, you wake up, and you're getting ready for your space exploration. After 20 minutes of exploring, the sun blows up, you come back, and you wake up in the exact same spot in the beginning of the game. And it kind of forces you to explore new areas. And I think that's a really cool aspect of the game.
what Carlos is playing is basically like what a lot of the internet kind of names it, which is just like it's a walking simulator, which means like you're just walking the whole time.
It's a little bit more than
and
that.
you're not doing much stuff, but something like the Outer Wilds, from what I've heard, is that there's more stuff to it. And so, if you guys ever played Gone Home or you've played the Stanley Parable, this game really, from everything I've heard and everything that Carlos has told me, like it sounds like it's on that level of that game, you know. And that's what's important because walking simulator, even though that's what they call it. It can do many different things that a regular game can't do because it's the whole aspect of the fact that you're not shooting bad guys every 24 seconds, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely a little boring sometimes because it's a whole lot of reading. You're reading into the lore of, you know, this ancient, I guess, these ancient beings that came before you. You're kind of reading into what they went through. So it's a little boring, but there is, you know, there is that 20 minutes that you have to explore as much as you can before you got to start again. So when you come across something that's kind of like groundbreaking, you're like, holy shit, I just came across this. And you realize you have like 5 minutes before the sun explodes, you know. The
sun explodes? What?
Yeah, supernova. I talked about this in the beginning.
Did you?
So it kind of, there's an element of like excitement when you know that the sun's about to blow up, especially right after you found, you know, some really important information.
Exactly. So yeah, guys, really recommend that you guys play that game, Outer Wilds. It's on Xbox. I think it's Xbox first, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because I haven't played it, even though I want to play it, but I don't think it's on PC yet.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's still a little bit time for it to come to it, but yeah, from everything I've heard, it's just like the other games that I've mentioned, and so it's definitely a huge recommend. One of the games I've played. We've played other games and we'll go into those ones, but one of the other games I've played that I haven't finished yet is I started playing Need for Speed Rivals last night. Need for Speed, it's always been the same game like every year, and they increase and put more stuff into it, but
I feel like it's kind of like a Forza.
Yeah, it is, but like worse. Because I actually started playing Forza with my brother, Horizon 4.
Okay.
Yeah, because we got the Xbox Game Pass on PC,
which
I told you, right?
I actually started that game.
Yeah, so
haven't really gotten far, but
I saw your I saw your Drivatar in the game, which is so weird that Forza does that.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, Carlos is online, and then I looked up. Oh no, he's not online. It's just his Drivatar.
Yeah.
But yeah. Need for Speed Rivals. It's not amazing or anything, but it's fun. And I'm trying to get the platinum for it, and that's why I'm playing it. But yeah, I was playing that one, and then I played this other one called Gym Crashers, it's on PlayStation now. It's a stupid game. It's like
it sounds pretty stupid.
Yeah, it's like Tetris and Brick Break
put
together, and it's a pretty terrible game. But I got the platinum for it, so that's what's important. Obviously platinum's now playing. But the main one that I've started to play was one of Quantic Dream's first games, which we're gonna talk about Detroit later on. But one of the first games that they played or that they made, it's the second game they made. Is Indigo Prophecy, and it came out for the PS2. It's actually it's actually on sale right now on the PS4 for $7.49. And it's really interesting. Like it's very different from Detroit because like you control a lot of the actions. Like whenever action comes out, you have to control the joysticks instead of like press square, press X, press R2, L2.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, it's just the joysticks most of the time. And then some other actions, like, you know, say like doing pull-ups or something. It's like you're tapping L1 and R1 at the same time. But it seems like a far more involved game because I was looking at how many chapters they have. It's like 52 or something like that.
What the fuck?
Yeah, dude, it's insane. It's like way more than Detroit. Detroit has like, 12 chapters at most. Like so, yeah, I don't know. I'm playing that game. It's pretty cool. It's definitely held back by the fact that it's so old. So it's like PS2 graphics and whatnot. Like there's this one part where like you can have sex with one of the characters and it's just like
it's fucking blocks.
Why am I doing this? But yeah, it's a pretty cool game. And also I was playing Crash Nitro Kart, which I played with our eponymous friend Juan, who's not here today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, both of you have. Oh, no, y'all game shared or some shit.
Yeah,
like that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. And we're playing at your cart, and dude, it's fun because it has all the tracks from Crash Team Racing, Crash Nitro Kart, and it has all the characters from Crash Team Racing, Crash Nitro Kart, and Crash Tag Team Racing, and it's super fun, dude. Like, you need to buy it whenever it goes on sale, because like it's a kart racer, but it's better, in my opinion. It's even in the way it is, the way they just recreated it, they didn't really change much from the first one. It's still, in my opinion, better than, like, say, Mario Kart.
Shit.
Yeah.
Damn. That's a bold, I guess.
Claim.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's really fun. It's really fun because there's, like, deathmatch and a whole bunch of, like, capture the flag and get these mini crystals and a whole bunch of stuff. It's
Nice.
a really fun game. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. And going more into, like I said, me and Carlos, we both finished Detroit Become Human.
Yeah.
And so, what did you think of it? Like, on the outset?
Overall, super amazing game. Loved it 100%. It was a different style of game that I don't think I've ever played. I know it's closer to like Telltale and all that, but I've never really completed a game like that.
But you've never played like a game like Detroit, right?
No, I've never played a game like Detroit, right? So I bought it out of just it being on sale, honestly. What's up?
Could I ask you a question? Before you go into those logistics, how was it for you? Like, when you were playing the game, like, did you imagine something else, or like, did it play out exactly the way you thought?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't really expect much from it because, again, I had never played a game like that, so I didn't really I didn't go in there with any expectations whatsoever. I just went in there, I played it, and I mean, I came out absolutely loving the game. You know?
Right. So you didn't think that it was going to be like a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter or like a action platformer?
No, you
like
see,
that. You just...
no, I knew it was more of like a kind of like a point and click, almost, because I do watch IGN's reviews on games, just the reviews they give, and I kind of got a feel of what it was about, more or less, and that's pretty much all I saw. I saw it on sale for $10, and it came with Heavy Rain as well. And I was like, fuck it, $10. I bought it. And, I mean, probably one of the best games I've played recently. Yeah.
Well, it's cool because, like, it's interesting because, like, I've played those games since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of your first experiences.
Yeah, this was one of my first experiences with them, especially with Quantum games.
Yeah, Quantum Break. That's
Quantum. No. Quantum Break is a game.
Sorry, yeah. Quantic Dream.
Yeah, Quantic Dream.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Quantum Break is a game from Xbox. No, Quantic Dreams is the studio that made it.
So it's the first game I played from them.
Okay.
Right, and I was not disappointed. I'm actually super excited to try Heavy Rain, especially eventually Beyond Two Souls. So
those are really good.
Yes,
and if you're interested, Indigo Prophecy, it's on sale.
Indigo Prophecy.
Although it is a very much older game, so it's kind of held back.
That kind of holds me back from wanting to try it, but I'll give it a try if it's as good as hopefully Detroit was.
So yeah, Detroit. What did you like about it personally? Like, one of the main things.
One of the main things I liked about it, and everybody I talked to the game about, everybody who I talk about, everybody who I talk to about the fucking game. God damn it. The main thing is, I like that you're following 3 androids, right? Who are, nonetheless supposed to be a slave. Just, you're supposed to tell them what they do. They clean your house. They take care of you. They bring you whatever you need, right? And it's, they start developing emotions and a conscience and all that. And I like the fact that you, the player, are the conscience or the emotions developing in these androids, because you as an android, you're put in certain scenarios, but you being a human player and controlling the androids, your emotions are coming through. Like, they're going to put you in a stressful situation where, you're going to react to it like a human because you're human. And in turn, this android is going to do whatever you told it to do. So it's developing your emotions, and like you're really the one building their conscience. And I think that, like, if you look at it that way, this game is completely mind-blowing and amazing.
Yeah. I mean, So it's interesting what the game is doing. Like I feel so there's this concept of, so this is kind of removed from that, but it's still the same thing. There's this concept of like diegetic music versus non-diegetic music in the film. So diegetic music is something like, hey, a character has a Walkman and he puts on his headphones and he's listening to a song, and then the whole scene plays out with that song. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, that music came from the world of the movie. Now, non-diegetic music is just like, oh, we're showing this character and all of a sudden, song pops out. Yeah. Doesn't come from this world of the movie or anything anything like that. So when it comes to like you controlling the android, almost in a way, it's kind of making like a diegetic way of like of putting human emotion into the android. Yeah. And honestly, it's showing you that like, okay, maybe androids won't rise up at first, but the fact that that's even an option that could happen with AI means that potentially what happens in the game, Detroit Become Human, could happen in real life. You know what I mean? And I think, that's fascinating the way that they're able to kind of like test. I mean, it's funny because it's a kind of game that goes beyond the fact that, oh, I'm just shooting bad guys or whatever. It goes beyond that and goes into like, you are the one that's controlling it. Yeah. And in that you're controlling it, you're making this robot do things that you would do. But this robot is a robot, so should it be doing that? But the fact that it can do that, it just opens a whole other can of worms. It does.
And the fact that they put you in a situation where you as a human have to react whether you save a little girl or you don't save a little girl, it's crazy, man. Like I don't think I've ever been, like, I guess the word is immersed in a game.
As since much as this Detroit. One, yeah. That's interesting, because I do think Detroit does a really good job. Yeah. Keeping you immersed.
What I liked about it is, I mean, I don't really think it's a spoiler, so in case it is, sorry. But, we've talked about it. The fact that Connor is designed not to be, deviant or not to fall into the deviancy.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, in the story, deviants are proclaimed as androids who have become self-aware, who have completely dropped down the restrictions of their programs. So now they don't listen to humans. If they say they could listen to them, but only if they choose. Yeah, it's their choice. So Connor, who's one of the main characters in the game, is made for the purpose to not be deviant, to not become self-aware. Yeah,
and as a player, if you all ever play the game, you'll find it just a little bit more difficult to predict exactly what your choices, like how exactly they're gonna come out. Because like sometimes you click something and you think that, oh, it's
Connor's gonna say something.
And but he doesn't completely
because
opposite.
It's kind of like not totally like opposite, but more like, oh, it's restricted by the fact that he's deviant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I noticed that so something we'll get into later, but I've been trying to get the platinum for the game. But choosing the different options, you see, oh shit, so he's restricted by like the fact that he's meant to be not deviant. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
And as a player, you'll find it difficult to like gauge whether he's deviant or not. So
yeah.
I think that's a really cool aspect of the game, though.
No, yeah. It is. It's funny because all these other characters are becoming deviant, but Connor is the one where you have to kind of like pay attention.
You have to work for it. Yeah. And you have to be careful with the choices you make because it might, change everything.
Yeah. Because these other characters, you can really easily kind of make him deviant, but with him, it's kind of like, no, like this, we're taking you through the whole process of how do you become like deviant.
Yeah.
Little by little, the choices you make, what you choose, and stuff like that. And it's interesting because you find yourself like when, for me, example. So I'm gonna go into a little bit more spoilers of Detroit. So if you guys haven't listened to Detroit, don't listen right now. But if you guys haven't played Detroit, sorry. Going more into the spoilers, there's a part where Connor is with Hank, his partner in the game. And he has to decide whether or not he's going to save him or continue running after the android. And originally, I ran after the android, and Hank was like, "What the fuck? You're just a program that follows your like rules and instructions and stuff." And I was like, "Fuck, I feel bad." You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I went back. This is the only time that I went back. And I was like, okay, fuck, like I want to do that again because like I messed up. Yeah. And I saved Hank instead of going after the android, and Hank was like grateful.
Yeah.
And
I think that's one of the first opportunities where you get to decide to be like a little deviant. Like it's when his software starts to become unstable. Like,
Yeah, and stable.
Yeah.
Which happens throughout the game. And what's interesting about that is that depending on what you first choose, it kind of shows a little bit about yourself of like if you were in that situation, what you would have chose.
Mhm.
Are you kind of robotic in a sense? And I feel like maybe I might have been in that situation
Yeah.
where like because I saw that Hank had like an 89% chance of surviving,
Yeah.
and this guy had like a 10% chance of staying still, so I can catch him. Like
Mhm.
I was like, okay, let me go to the guy.
Yeah.
But in doing so, Hank was like, "Are you just a robot?" And in that sense, I kind of was looking at it as
Yeah.
a robot. I
Mhm.
was saying that he had a high chance of surviving, so let me just go to this dude.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That's interesting. That is super
Yeah.
interesting. Wow.
Yeah. So Detroit. Going more into spoilers and stuff. How were your characters like? Did they all survive?
No. So me and Albie had completely different outcomes. So most of my characters died. So when I say most of my characters, there's 3 different stories, and one person from pretty much each story died.
Shit.
Well, Marcus's story, everybody died. So
Oh shit!
So, spoiler zone. Marcus is kind of like the leader of a resistance, and he has kind of like a group of people he works with, and pretty much every single one of those groups, like that group, died. So that's what's her name?
North, Simon, and John.
Something like that.
that.
Yeah, they all died. And then in my case with Kara,
There's Alice and Luther.
Alice.
Alice, which is a small
Yeah, yeah.
girl, and then Luther, the black guy.
Yeah. So both of them died. Yeah, but both of them died for me. Alice died like on the way to the end game.
And Kara is the only one that survived.
Yeah, Kara is the only one who survived.
And you said she died because you were going across the border, like
Yeah.
across the river.
Yeah. So
That's weird because I never went across the river.
You never crossed the river?
No.
Dude, I crossed the river on a boat, dude, and then like
What?
Border Patrol were patrolling and they shot at us, and I decided to try to get out of it. Right, so I decided to go to the motor and drive us away, but in doing that, Alice got shot and I wasn't able to save.
God damn.
Yeah, so like totally different.
I never
outcomes,
got to
man.
that point.
No?
So I was like at a checkpoint at a border crossing, and a family left like they
Oh, you gave him back the ticket.
I didn't give them back the ticket.
Oh, you didn't.
I
I gave
kept
him
it.
back. Yeah, I gave back the ticket.
I kept the ticket. I
Oh,
kept it.
shit.
Yeah, because I was like, man, this is like towards the end. I'm not sure if like there's gonna be another opportunity for me to like be good.
Mhm.
So I was like, no, I'm gonna keep it. You know what I mean?
Dude, and I didn't keep it. And that's why I had to get smuggled across, and that was
okay.
kind of like the next option, getting smuggled across, and
I guess that's where the difference is.
yeah,
And for me, so once I got the ticket, I went inside, and we thought, okay, we're past it, but no, they stopped the bus, and they're like, oh, we're doing border checks, and then Alice was like, and Nakara were like, well, what are we gonna do, right?
Mhm.
And they go into a restroom, and Rose, the black girl
Okay.
who was helping them, she goes and talks to them and tells them like, hey, Marcus is doing good. He's doing well, at least for my Marcus, he was doing, he was being peaceful and everything.
Yeah.
And so they were saying, like maybe they might be able to help you, but at the same token, Rose was willing to help. Luther was willing to sacrifice,
Mhm.
and also this Johnny something. It's a android that you meet in the carnival place that you go to with Kara and Alice. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, the one where there was a bunch of him. He was kind of like the animatronic.
Kind of like the person
the
who like,
guide.
introduces-
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he was also willing to sacrifice himself, but in the end, when you see when you're going to like the actual border crossing and they're scanning you,
Mhm.
it says sacrifice yourself, sacrifice sacrifice Luther, sacrifice Jerry, or have Rose help you or something, or it says no sacrifice,
Mhm.
and I put no sacrifice, and when I put no sacrifice, Kara went up to the border patrol agent
Mhm.
and she was like, we just want a new life, we
Mhm.
just want a new start. And then the agent like looked at you and then looked at the news, and the news was showing that Marcus was being peaceful and everything. So
Mhm.
I think that has a role to play whether or not the border patrol listens to you.
The Marcus's story ultimately affects Kara's story.
Yeah, I
That's
think so.
crazy.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Oh wow.
And when he saw both of those things, he was like, enjoy your new life in Canada. you know, and so you're able to get through the
Mhm.
border and everything,
Damn.
and we're safe. We never went through the crossing the river. And
That's
stuff.
crazy, dude. Yeah, because we crossed the river on a boat.
That's crazy.
And like the boat started sinking and the water was freezing, so androids don't do well in cold water.
yeah,
right
they
there,
don't.
they start shutting down.
Yeah.
So like you have to push the boat across. So like it's very tense because you're just there like fucking button smashing and like you have to change it up sometimes and you finally make it across and then Alice she had already gotten shot, so you're just trying to get her across to get help. And once you land on shore, she's already like she's done. Like you could tell, you know.
Mhm.
You talk to her maybe like 2 times and then Alice dies. So you have the choice to either kill yourself with her or live your life. And I just decided to live, like to continue living. Because you could die right next to Alice if you wanted to.
Oh wow.
I
So you
just
decided
didn't.
to choose
I just
living.
decided to continue.
Did
Yeah.
So when you decided to continue living, did Kara say anything like to herself, like, "Oh man"?
She
Alice,
might have. I don't quite remember.
Oh,
But
okay.
she might have said something.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, so that was me with Kara,
Mhm.
and then with Marcus, I stayed peaceful the whole time.
Yeah, I
And,
didn't.
uh,
And I'll get into right now why I didn't stay peaceful.
No, yeah, I mean, I stayed peaceful the whole time. There's even the police, the FBI guy who came to give me some sort of deal, and I still stayed peaceful. I kind of like said, no, I'm not gonna give you the deal or
Mhm.
whatnot. And then the SWAT threw like a grenade, and then Marcus was like throwing them away, and then like saving androids and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And then they get cornered, and then like you can decide to sing, kiss North,
Mm-hmm.
which is another android,
Mm-hmm.
or fight back. I think
Yeah.
it was. And I was thinking of singing, but I was like, no, let me just kiss North, and then
Mhm.
kissed her, and they saw.
Yeah, I guess they kind of saw the humanity in them.
Yeah, yeah.
Realized-
Once I kissed her, they completely stopped shooting us, and I was like, oh shit, okay, cool.
That's crazy. Yeah, I had a different one with Marcus. I stayed peaceful throughout the whole thing, except for the first time. I think you get shot, and it's after you round up everybody who's like in that little plaza. You know how you're rounding up all the androids and converting them, and you know the SWAT ends up showing up, and you could decide to sacrifice yourself or, you know, run or something like that. And I got shot. Marcus got shot, and then after that he goes and he visits his old, I guess, master.
Yeah.
I don't know his name. He was the older man.
Carl.
Was it Carl?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
he goes and visits Carl, and Carl's now on his
He's
deathbed.
played by fuck. No, I had his. I'm sorry, I had his name. Fuck. I'm
So-
sorry, guys.
so-
but he's played by a very popular voice actor. He comes out in Mass Effect, and he comes out in Battlestar Galactica. But sorry.
Nice.
Go
No,
ahead.
you're good. So you go visit Carl, and Carl's already on his deathbed, and Marcus just kind of just asking him like, "What do I do? I've tried to be peaceful, you know, they're not listening to me." And then Carl says something along the lines of like, you know, no big change was made without, you know, violence. And after he said that, it sat with me, and I'm just like, fuck it, like I've tried to be peaceful throughout the entire game, and it's not working.
I know the guy's name.
Well, because you searched it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. His name is Lance Henriksen.
Lance Hendrickson.
Yeah, and he's played he played a character in Mass Effect in the original trilogy, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. That was really good, and
Mhm.
also in Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's a really good actor.
Yeah. So after talking to him, I decided to the final battle or the last push where you're kind of freeing all the androids from that camp that they're in.
Yeah,
Which
which
I got violent.
I heard about, but
Mhm.
I never
Yeah.
got to that point.
Yeah. So I got violent and
So you
Ba-
liberated the androids from
Yeah,
the camps.
mhm.
Oh, okay.
and then there's still a huge battle after that. And in between that battle, you're left either it's a risky one because you obviously got soldiers and like fucking tanks shooting at you. So that's how all my people died, all my group, because a lot of them went down, and I had to make the choice whether to, you know, possibly die trying to save them or just continue. And at that point, I was just like, we just gotta, you know, one of the things they said is like, you know, that they were gonna do this whether they lived or died, and I just stuck true to that. And whether they're dead or they're alive, we're gonna do it. So I just
Yeah.
continued through.
It's interesting that you went through that because, like, I stayed peaceful the whole time, so I never got to the point where I had to liberate androids from
Mhm.
the camps. And when I was talking to the FBI agent, he said that, like, those androids were killed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never liberated them or anything.
Oh
like that.
shit! You see, with me, I was able to save them.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, that's an interesting dichotomy. Like, choose to be peaceful, you sacrifice more people.
Yeah.
You get what you want, maybe. You don't choose to be peaceful, you save more people, but maybe people will look at you as no better than them.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
went about it the wrong way. But at the end, we got what we wanted. Detroit kind of became like a secluded state or city
Yeah.
to where it was an Android state or city. So
Okay.
like
So Detroit
all-
literally became human.
yeah, all the humans pulled out of Detroit,
Mhm.
and
And the androids.
the androids took it over.
That's
I
interesting.
don't know, that would be a good setup for a second game, but we know that Quantic Dreams doesn't do that. So
Yeah, they usually don't, because their
Yeah.
first game, I don't know what it was, but their second game was Indigo Prophecy, then it was Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and
Mhm.
now this one.
Yeah.
My money is on them not doing a
yeah,
sequel.
I did read an article saying that they definitely considered it, but because of that I guess reputation they have, I don't think they'll go that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how was Connor for you? Did he become deviant?
He
for
did.
you?
He
Oh,
did.
okay.
He did become deviant when he encounters Marcus for the first time, as trying to take down Marcus. He was there to take down Marcus, and then Marcus kind of just, started giving him options and started talking to him. And through that, it's what ultimately made Connor kind of break through his programming.
I have to say that chapter, it's really cool, like how all the stories kind of like
Yeah,
intersect.
yeah, because they all
Kara
meet
and
there.
Connor and Marcus.
They were all there.
It kind of sucks that Connor never really gets to talk to Kara, and Kara.
Yeah,
never-
they don't really interact much,
Yeah,
except
yeah,
when he's chasing him in the beginning, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still cool that Connor, like, if you so choose, can help Marcus.
Yeah.
In
Mhm.
doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's that interesting, almost ending where, that AI Amanda's kind of like in his head and trying to take him back over,
Mm-hmm.
and she's kind of like forcing him to pull out a gun, and then
And kill Marcus.
kill Marcus. But then
while he's doing like the speech because at that point in the game you're already at the end and Marcus is giving a final speech.
yeah, he's giving a final speech, and Amanda's kind of taking over. She wants you to kill Marcus, and then you kind of resonate on something that the original founder of CyberLife said, and that there
Yeah,
was
he said
always a way out.
I always put an exit program in my programs.
Exactly. So, if you play when you play as Connor and you kind of explore the little area, he usually starts in. It's kind of like something in his head, right? More or less like that area where you talk to Amanda. It's like in his head.
Yeah, it's all
Right.
in his head.
So like,
Yeah, Amanda talks to him. in his
if you
head.
explore that area, you actually end up finding the exit program pretty early. You just don't know that that's what the exit program is. You
Yeah,
don't know it's
yeah.
an exit program.
That's
or
kind of
exit.
that's kind of like me. Like when I saw that, so it's funny, but like when I saw that little like
Like, it was
rock
a little,
thing.
yeah, terminal thing,
I-
or whatever.
I thought it was a camp or something, and I was like, why is there a camp there?
A camp.
Yeah, but I knew that it was always towards the beginning of my entrance.
Yeah.
So I knew that whenever that happened with Amanda, I was like, okay, let me start walking towards the entrance, and that's where I found that,
Mhm.
and I went to it, and
You put your hand on it.
Yeah, you put your hand in it and exited it. He didn't kill him, even though there's a trophy for killing Marcus in that moment.
Really?
Yeah.
So I guess to get to platinum, you got to do that.
Yeah, it's platinum. They're gonna
Mhm.
do that. But yeah, so overall, Detroit Become Human was really
Amazing game.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just proves that Quantic Dreams still does an amazing job when it comes to games, controversies notwithstanding. But that actually goes to another aspect that I wanted to talk about a little bit before we get towards our end of our podcast, which is because something that I've been trying to do, because I always get platinums for games that I feel like that are attainable for me, and I've been trying to get the platinum for Detroit Become Human. And so my next question for us is, whether or not platinums are, whether or not they represent skill. When I say platinum, on the PlayStation Network, when you get all the trophies for a video game, which is bronze, silver, and gold, you get this platinum trophy. It basically indicates that you pretty much completed the game to its furthest extent. You did everything that the trophies asked for. And so what I'm asking is, are platinums indicative? Do they represent that this person that you're playing with has a lot of skill as a gamer? What do you think?
I mean, I
So
want to say yes. What? What?
sorry, I was gonna add just one more. If you're on Xbox, it would be 100% on a gamer score.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I want to say yes. I mean, I think getting a platinum on any game, does take skill. I mean, given that there's some like Spider-Man that was really easy.
Relatively
Very-
easy. All it required for you is to play the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some platinums that are definitely easier to obtain,
Obtain.
but there's some platinums that are fucking insane, and they take time, they take patience. Something that I probably don't have. But yeah, I mean, definitely platinum takes skill. But then again, there is the multiplayer aspect, and that's kind of where I lean towards into. So I don't think a platinum, is a sign that you're good at every style of game, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think you've said it before that you're not so strong when it comes to like the multiplayer, the PvP
No, yeah.
sides
I
of
mean,
things.
I'm a perfect example. I have 85 platinums, and when it comes to like Call of Duty and stuff, Carlos will wipe my ass all day. You know what I mean? Like, and Carlos has like 1 platinum.
Yeah.
And I have 85.
Exactly.
So and he's way better at me than Call of Duty.
So is there different levels of skill? Yeah, and I think being able to obtain platinums in game is definitely one of them.
No, yeah, for sure. I feel like yeah, it's definitely in the middle of the road where it's like depends what kind of game it is. Because for example, when you're playing a Telltale game, all you gotta do is beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
You get the platinum.
Yeah.
Relatively easy.
Yeah.
Time consuming possibly because it's
Mhm.
like a 12-hour game, but relatively easy. You don't gotta do it. There's no skill involved really. You just gotta beat the game. Something with Detroit, the trophies in there towards when you get the platinum.
Mm.
It's just like do other things that you didn't do in the first time. You know what I mean?
Like basically go through the whole story again, but different
Opposite.
choices.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And in doing so, you'd probably unlock the platinum.
Yeah.
But then there's other games where it's like, beat this level on hard or beat this level on. So something that we'll talk about a little bit right now, which is Doom. Doom has a trophy where it's like, it's a relatively easy platinum to get, but there's one trophy where it wants you to beat the first level on Ultimate Nightmare difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's insane. Like, I mean, it's relatively still easy for you to get
Mhm.
because it is the first level in a very hard difficulty setting.
Mm-hmm.
But I can only imagine if somebody out there has tried to actually beat the whole game on like
Nightmare.
Ultra Nightmare. It's
Yeah.
insane. But you have something like Uncharted, where the remastered. So Uncharted, the highest difficulty it had was Crushing.
Mm-hmm.
And to beat the whole game on Crushing would get you a trophy. But the remasters introduced a new one called Brutal difficulty. And that one, literally one shot and you're dead
Oh shit.
for the most part. It was so annoying. I only have the first platinum.
Mhm.
That's how hard it was. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But yeah, I would say that when it comes to those kind of trophies and those kind of platinums, it's really indicative of the skill of a player who finds out the ins and outs of that video game specifically. Because unfortunately, most trophies are towards like beat this level or beat that level in this difficulty and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's not like be number 1
Mm-hmm.
in a death match 50 times in a row.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be freaking insane and hard.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
I think Overwatch has some pretty crazy trophies you need to get.
It is. You know how crazy it is? So each when you look up trophy guides and stuff, they have like estimates of how long it's gonna take for you to get the trophy platinum. Overwatch is like 200 to 300 hours. I'm like,
Oh shit.
I don't have that much time
Yeah.
to spend on Overwatch. Overwatch is not even like my most favorite game. So yeah,
Yeah.
300 hours is too much. But yeah, definitely platinums are indicative of skill to a certain point. But yeah, in the end, it just depends on the game that you're playing. Whether
Yeah,
or not you're
definitely.
gonna be good at it.
Yeah, because again, Spider-Man easy, then something like Doom not so easy,
Yeah.
and then I don't know
Or
of
like
any.
something like Wolfenstein. I don't know if you know about
Oh,
those games.
you can't die a single time.
So part 2, you have to beat it on the hardest difficulty and not die a single time.
Yeah, fuck
And
that,
the
dude.
game deletes your save the moment your death animation starts. So even if you're like, oh, let me just turn it off, the game already deleted your save.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck. Like,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you talking to me about that one. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, fuck that, man. They'd never be able to do that.
yeah, no. Yeah, and I think it has like 300 people who have gotten the platinum. Another
Out of,
game,
like, the thousands of players.
hundreds of thousands. I mean, there's this game called Super Meat Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've
It sounds
played it.
familiar.
So Super Meat Boy is basically like Super Mario kind of thing, but
Uh-huh.
this, because he's made out of meat, he kind of like slides on the ground and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a trophy for beating each world without losing a life.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch that game, if you play that game, it's kind of hard to beat it without losing a life. And the fact that you have to beat a whole section without losing life, and then you got to do every section. There's like 10 of them.
It's insane.
Forget it. You know what I mean? But yeah. So yeah, Detroit Become Human, really awesome game. You guys should play it. It's free on PlayStation Plus right now.
It is, actually.
So play that one.
Sorry, Laredo, because he bought it like the day before. So he spent money on it, and then like the next day it's fucking free on PlayStation.
That sucks. That sucks. Sucker. No, it's fine. But yeah, get it on PlayStation Plus. Play the game and get invited into the world of Quantic Dream, what they do and stuff, because their games are pretty unique. Not many people do it. Very different from like a Telltale game. You've played Telltale before,
Yeah,
right?
I have.
It's very different, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And so, something I forgot to mention that I really liked about Detroit is all the actors are actual human, like actual people. They're
Yeah,
actual
yeah,
actors. They're
yeah.
just kind of like animated or like,
Yeah.
put into a game, which I
Mhm.
thought was fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that he captures the motion capture and everything
Yeah.
is really good.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, going from Detroit, after playing a game that we really loved, we're gonna talk about games that we really are looking forward to, that we hope we love. So, Carlos has one.
Yeah,
Which
I'm going to
was-
take this way. So something I'm really looking forward to is a game that I've been playing since, as far as I can remember, and that's Pokemon Shield and Moon, Shield and Sword, coming to the Nintendo Switch, I think in November. I'm really looking forward to this game. It's the first time ever that Pokemon is going to make it an open world RPG. I don't know exactly how open world it's going to be, because I'm pretty sure, there's going to be some limitations.
Restrictions.
Yeah, so like, again, I don't know how open world is gonna be, but the fact that it's more open world than what it already is, and they're just kind of expanding on that. I'm super excited about it. I'm always excited when they introduce new Pokemon to a game.
All I know is that it's gotten some backlash because, so for example, you had Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee, which were basically remakes of the first
Pokemon Yellow.
Pokemon Yellow,
Mhm.
right? And people were like, okay, this is fine.
Yeah.
It's a remake, and now it's in 3D. It looks great and
Yeah.
everything. But when they announced that this was like, oh, this is the next line
Mhm.
Pokemon game, people were expecting, because the fact that it was on a Switch, people were like, okay, this is gonna be like what we've always wanted, which is a full 3D world of Pokemon with the best animations and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't deliver on that, and the fact that it just looks like, oh, it's the same Pokemon game except now with the graphics of a Switch.
Well,
Some people are disappointed in that, and
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
I mean,
in that respects.
I kind of get that, but again, what can you expect? How far do you want them to take it before it's like a Pokemon game that has like really good graphics that doesn't even look animated anymore, right?
I guess some people, from what I was reading in the comments, I guess some people just want they just want a Pokemon game that really is kind of like the cartoon. You know what I mean? Or you're a trainer, you're capturing these Pokemon, and you're encountering kind of like a world that's unique and different, and the way you capture the Pokemon depends on the choices maybe that you make, maybe not. Like something that's more akin to like The Witcher, or in The Witcher you're killing these animals.
Yeah.
You're a Pokemon trainer capturing these animals.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were expecting a whole new, different kind of like take on the Pokemon games, and I don't think we're there yet. I don't think they have, the
Technology.
the technology or studios just to make that quite, just not yet. I think
is that something that you would be interested in personally as a Pokemon fan? Would you want to see something that's like more in depth as a Pokemon game?
Kind of. I mean, maybe in the
Instead
future.
of the whole usual, because from what I've heard, I haven't played that many Pokemon games because I've never had a Nintendo console besides the Switch. Because from what I've heard is that all the Pokemon games, it's kind of like the same old thing in a sense, except now you're a different trainer, you're capturing new Pokemon, and
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is. But I mean, what else do they want? You know, that's what I don't get. Like, what else do these people want to be introduced to the game? You know, it's kind of like every other shooter. Every other shooter, you're essentially shooting at the. You know, you're shooting people. You're just a different character in a different map, and that's kind of what it is with Pokemon.
Yeah, I guess from what I see it is that people keep seeing like basically Call of Duty coming out every year, and they want like a Doom. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's still a shooter, but it's doing something different.
Yeah.
You know,
and I mean, I definitely think Pokemon Shield and Sword are doing something different. I mean, they're introducing the open world aspect to it. I mean, how open world is it going to be?
Have the other games not been open world?
I mean, they're somewhat. I mean, no, I wouldn't even call them open world because they're pretty linear. You know, you go to one city, you need to travel through a forest to get to another one.
So would you compare it to something like, say, have you ever played Rise of the Tomb Raider? Or
yeah.
Would you compare it to something like that where it's like kind of like semi-open world?
Kinda, yeah. Because you can go back to previous places and stuff like that, but you know, there's not a different route. Like you need to take that same route to this one place.
It's not like Grand Theft Auto.
Exactly. So like, I'm hoping that Shield and Sword is more of like, you know, Grand Theft Auto, you know, The Witcher, Skyrim kind, where you can just really
explore.
Yeah, tackle the city from any direction. Like you don't even need to follow just the one path down that's going to lead you to the city, but you can, you know, travel up this fucking mountain and you come up into another, you know, city. Whether you can fight in that gym or not, like just the fact that you could just explore, you know, anything, you know, is what would be a game changer for me. And people talk about the graphics, but personally I see the graphics of the game and they've definitely improved for, you know, it being played on the Switch now.
Right.
Yeah, so
that's one of your most upcoming.
Yeah. I mean,
one of the ones you're looking for.
That's like hands down like what I cannot wait to come out.
Yeah, no, and for me, one of my games that I'm looking forward to the most is Cyberpunk 2077, and that's, I mean, before I get to the obvious reasons why I'd be looking forward to it, the fact that it's being made by CD Projekt Red, who made The Witcher 3, one of my favorite games of all time, and they made The Witcher 1 and 2, which is also my favorite. But they're also developers who seem to be very much in the mindset of like, we're doing this for the gamers. We're not doing it for you know, our stockholders and stuff like that. We're doing it for the gamers. And our strategy of doing it for the gamers has been working out so far, because supposedly Witcher 3 sold like 30 million copies, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Like for an independent studio like that, I mean, freaking, I think GTA sold like 90 million copies. But, you know, it's amazing that something like The Witcher can get even as high as 20 or 30.
Yeah,
you know, to be a third of that, you know. And I like that that's their philosophy and that's what they're doing. And when you look at the Cyberpunk 2077, you look at the world that they're trying to create. It's really interesting. And while there's been controversy on it, you know, people are saying like, oh, they're being like not good to transvestite people and stuff like that. It's like whatever. Like if you look at the game hasn't even explored that part of it that much. It's just people looking at like a shot from the trailer. They're like, oh, it's bad. You know, it's like, no, it's not at all what it is. But the fact that you look at the gameplay and it seems like you have multiple choices of how you can interact with a certain mission. And not only that, but in those interactions create different paths. And within those different paths creates different interactions that you can take. And those interactions creates different paths. Yeah. It just seems like a super huge sprawling, a literal choose your own adventure, whatever it is that you want to do. Yeah. In that kind of world, and Keanu Reeves comes out. So.
Yeah, I mean, Cyberpunk is one that I've had my eye on. I haven't really looked much into it, and I don't think is there gameplay out. There's not, right?
Yeah, there's like 3 videos.
3 videos of gameplay.
Yeah.
I have to check those out.
There's one with the girl. Because you can choose between a girl and a guy. There's one with the girl, there's one with the guy, and then there's one with that recently was released in E3, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, it shows like different ways like that you could interact. Like, so one is like you can sneak into the apartment and capture the person, or you can sneak, or you can like just go out all guns blazing, you know.
Yeah.
And also what you say, you know, determines what's gonna happen and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that the game is like twice the size of The Witcher as far as like space
you know
goes.
You know how big The Witcher is?
Like it's not like 45 gigs or something.
So yeah, the size of the game is like 45 gigs, but when you go to the square kilometers or square meters of the game, or no, square miles, sorry, The Witcher is like number 7 of like the top 20 biggest game worlds of all time. So if it's twice as big, that's freaking huge.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big world.
No, yeah, and so yeah, Cyberpunk and Pokemon are some of the games we're looking forward to.
Yeah, just some honorable mentions. Outer Worlds by Bethesda. You know, really excited to see that one.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
Yeah,
and definitely, me and Carlos will probably be playing that one because I know it's coming to Xbox Game Pass and I have it on PC.
Yeah.
But we'll also be playing eventually Gears 5.
Gears 5. I if I read correctly, I think Gears 5 is free to play. Like it's you get the first, if you have Game Pass Unlimited.
Yeah.
You get a free like sneak peek this weekend, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think you can play this weekend. Yeah, so don't quote me on that, but I could have sworn I read that today.
Shit. Yeah, because it's coming out in September, so I would imagine there would be some sort of sneak peek into it. And not only that, but the Halo Master Chief Collection is finally coming to PC, so I'm excited for that because I've never played. Well, I've played Halo 2, but I've never really fully played Halo completely. I know I tried to play Halo 3, the campaign. Because your brother wanted me to get better at the game, but I never beat it. I never had enough time.
The Halo 3 campaign gets a little difficult.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that coming to PC.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, it's pretty much our kind of like game centric episode this week. And again, we don't have Juan, but he's missed.
Yeah,
he'll be here eventually.
Yeah, he's here in spirit.
Yeah. But it comes to the end of our podcast, and if you guys are interested, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you guys have any suggestions, please tell us. I know something that Carlos is trying to do is do an Instagram showing behind the scenes of some of the beers that he's making, and also just behind the scenes in general. And something that I'm trying to do is to just do experimental videos. Something that I'm trying to get my brother involved with is because me being a critic, I want to put my money where my mouth is and actually do like, if I say like, oh, I think if I would have done this, that would have been better. I want to show you why I think this would have been better. I want to put it to screen, you know, and just continue expanding what it is that Beer Break is trying to do. So follow us on YouTube, subscribe us on YouTube, and eventually we'll be on iTunes, hopefully, on their podcast app, and also on Spotify. And this is me, Albie, and Carlos signing out for today. Yeah.
Yep.
Bye-bye.